Oh, okay. But I always say, it's Shloshim Yom Machag, and Ashkoch Elyono, we learned Sunday that the Shloshim Yom Machag, 30 days, Moshe Rabbeinu made a special takona to start learning a little bit the Hilchos Pesach. Oh. Here, can we get a few more?
Very good mark too off his Thank you. It's a lot big theory.
Oh, we have one more people here.
Me go upstairs and I go upstairs. This is done.
We have one more here.
I'm gonna see if upstairs.
Here's two.
Brachim HaChodesh is on Shabbos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rosh Hashanah and Parshat Chodesh as well.
Yeah. In Chabad, it's a custom to recite all of Tehillim.
We're on
Which Chabad? Brachim HaChodesh.
Yeah, but this is not Shabbos and Wochen.
It's not?
Not Shabbos and Wochen.
Well, it is. It is. Thursday. It is. Next Thursday. Mevarchim, Chodesh, Mevarchim and Chodesh.
It's on Shabbos.
And Chazak.
Right?
So we take it. Two.
Why three? Two.
No, it's not.
It's not Rosh Hashanah.
It's Brachim HaChodesh.
It's Vayar B'Kudei,
So we
Chazak,
recite
and Chodesh.
all of Tehillim on Shabbos, right, Shmulik?
Yeah.
That's gonna be,
Everybody said every.
if I can pull it off, it's gonna be my fourth time.
What time you stop?
I have to start very early, and it takes me a good 6-7 hours.
Yes, the work I'm doing. Takes me I got down to about an hour 40.
I start 8 o'clock, 9:30 I finish.
I got down, yeah, but you're native. Every 12 months a year.
Yeah,
And
well, I just started doing this.
And every yard's 13 months.
Yeah.
Born Israeli. Very nice. Very nice. We have.
Also, we do it for 4 years, 45 years. I didn't even know by heart already.
Yeah.
He say it every day.
Why?
And then
I'll,
I used to take my day of the week.
Sure.
Oh,
Well,
יש זום גם.
אבל זה לא אותו דבר. Zoom זה לא אותו דבר.
לא אותו דבר? יש זום, אבל זה אפשר.
For you, we have one more left, a good Shulchan Aruch. Come on, give him the good one, the good one. לא, זה לא אחד.
מה?
זה.
לא יושבים ביחד? כל אחד לבד?
לא, תשב פה.
מה, זה לא ביחד? שבע סחים.
לא, צריכים לקחת קצת לחיים, ואז יושבים ביחד.
בדיוק.
Okay. Let's go. Siman Kuf Samach Aleph, page Shin Yud. Shiur, so to say. It's Shloshim Yom Machag. We have to start learning a little bit about Pesach. It's brought that in the Medrash that the Parshas Vayakel that the Eibusha said to make hakel, to get the Yidden together and to learn Hilchos Shabbos b'Shabbos and Hilchos Chag b'Chag. And Moshe Rabbeinu made a takona to learn 30 days before. Okay, so let's get straight into it. Today we're going to learn about two things. One about page Shin Yud. Oh, you got the
other one.
So it's Siman Tov Samach Aleph, Sif Yud Beis. I'm almost there. Okay, Tov Samach Aleph, Sif Yud Beis. Two things we're going to learn about.
In this one?
In this one, it's Shin Yud. So, number one, we're going to look about Kneidlach, Matzah Shruya. You have a good recipe for Kneidlach? The best. So, we talk about Kneidlach, Matzah Shruya, and then we'll talk about Matzah Kfula Nefucha. Even though the Matzah bakery, they try to check the matzahs, and they stand there, and they look, and they look, and they look.
Oh, you found samples?
Sure, I have a bag of samples, and I left it on my desk. I asked my daughter to bring it here. Every year when we go to, I prepared it on a bag. So every year when we bake matzah, one of the things we do is we check for kfulas and nefuchas, and we'll talk about kfulas and nefuchas. Okay, let's read a little bit inside. Yoitz Adam dechvotz matzah shruya b'mayim lachar fi yosav u'shalenu mucha v'afa b'shen es matzah b'mayim shelo yotz machla lechem kol zman shalenu meichel legamre. If it's still considered lechem, it didn't melt, it's kosher matzah. Kol zman shalenu meichel legamre. B'chol mokum lechatchila tev shelo lotz matzah shruya v'mkenu zokna chayda v'kosh lechem matzah yibes asher b'mayim lechatchila you shouldn't use for the night of Pesach matzah shruya. Tzach l'zer shelo nishis b'mayim chav dal chosh kol nishis meis les nekar kol v'shir k'mavushim ein yotze b'matzah b'shalos. You're not yotze with cooked matzah. So if it's already soaking in the water for 24 hours, then you can't be yotze. Tzach l'zer lishis kazai shalom b'yachid alim yishir prusis p'schosis m'kazai ein yotze b'nei chalei vosim im nosher kol kach shenes lav b'mayim shemachemos shkvan in the battle materis lachim k'moy shenes bar b'sim akuf samaches. I'm going quick because we did a little bit of this last week. The Toysus brings and brachas. The Toysus brings and brachas of Lamed Zayin a story about Rabbi Yosef and the Bala Toysus, and he used to give a shiur in Mainz, and in Mainz and Worms they didn't have a Stravitsky bakery where you can get a nice cheese Danish for the morning, and he would give right after Shachris he would give a big long shiur, and the Kadeshi is Chazak Roishe Sheyuchel Hagid Ashir. He wanted to eat something quick, mezoinus, but they didn't have mezoinus. So he used to take, by the night before he used to go to sleep, he used to take pieces of bread and he used to break them up less than a kazais. He used to put them in a cup with water, and the water used to become like white. And then he used to take a spoon and eat that mush, and he used to make mezoinus on that mush. So that was his mezoinus snack for the morning before he gave the shiur. So if you take the matzah and you do that trick, so the matzah is now not anymore din matzah. So that's no good. A person could put a piece of matzah in his mouth and swallow it without chewing it. He's yoitza. He might get a stomachache, but he's yoitza. However, matzah atzma tzorah shia b'tam matzah, v'lo shiyufak tama hayedei tamache. The chefza, the matzah has to have a tam matzah. Okay. This is again all according to the original din that you're allowed to have matzah shruya on Pesach. In the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, he doesn't ever mention even once that there's a problem with knedlach, that there's a problem with matzah shruya. He never mentions that because according to the Shulchan Aruch, the Alter Rebbe goes with the thing that matzah shruya is good. So halacha yud gimel makol makom weiter makol makom halacha yud gimel makol makom mim azak nachay liyef shaloi lechel matzah shruya b'mayim shoyden loy b'yayin b'shel mashkin in kedei shaloi is battle mitzvahs matzah. If you have no choice, so 1 second. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Okay, here. We'll get there in a second with the matzah shruya. My daughter brought it over.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So again, let's start. If he's a sick man, you have no choice. You could soak in grape juice and wine. Kadei is battle my mitzvahs matzah. Kieshem shafa yaim b'shar masha ain't a figin tam matzah. Kimishalan is bashal an initiative man. Aber shor kol adam she'ochel matzah shluy b'shor kol mashkim chutz mimayim lo yotz echvotz v'tzar alaz v'lechel matzah acher. It's been a kazai shel b'chaz matzah man kazai shel becoming ki ikka kisvar d'shayna. We say mainly the svar d'shayna that you have to eat matzah that has tam matzah, and if you soaked it in wine, it doesn't have tam matzah. But if the person that has no teeth, he has no teeth. So what are you going to do? So we're makel to say that you're allowed to soak it in wine. You're allowed to soak it in wine.
Speaking about wine, we're supposed to have the arba osa. If somebody gets so sick from having wine, even the low alcohol content,
we'll talk about it.
Okay. Sorry.
Today we'll do the matzah.
We're talking about the matzah.
Today we're talking about the matzah. Now, today you can get implants. Get implants. So if you can't chew matzah, get implants.
And it's given comments.
I have a neighbor. Craziest story. He says His father was a dentist. Before his father died, said, "I know you're gonna have very bad teeth." He knocked out all his son's teeth and gave him implants for him.
That must have been expensive.
But he's a dentist.
So
That's
that-
very
cost him
expensive.
much.
funny thing.
If he's a dentist. Yeah, it's our job.
I feel bad for a kid like that. That has a father like that.
My father, his house is open. Bli guzma they have on a Shabbos in the Yom Tovim when Orchim come to Crown Heights. Bli guzma 60 or 70 Orchim could be for a Suda.
Yeah.
And the bedrooms are full, and it's lebedik. So this year in the Pesach time, one of the guests he was saying, my father was saying he's having a problem eating the kazais matzah because he's getting older and he's losing teeth. So the person said, "I'm a dentist. So, and my practice is in Paris. So if you come to me Chanukah, I'll put your whole mouth in new teeth." He flew to France, and he came back home with a whole set of new teeth. And I walked into my father's house to say good Shabbos, like I do every Friday, 2-3 weeks ago. And the person came because it's the year Hakel and wanted to. So he came to check, and he said, he came to check up. So that's a good reason to get implants. If you can't eat matzah, I'm joking aside. In the old times, all the Alta Yidalach had dentures. So there was that.
Still
Used to cash
not everybody
out.
has implants.
Huh?
Not everybody has
Not
implants.
implants.
It's
Very expensive.
Very expensive.
So this guy did it for him for
He
free.
did it for free. He did it
I
for
wonder
free.
how much the implant was.
The airfare is nicht gefährlich. Nicht gefährlich.
How did the Rebbe eat matzah? The Rebbe didn't have eat either. How did he eat matzah?
What?
How did the Rebbe eat matzah? He didn't
How
have
could the Rebbe eat matzah is a good question. Huh? Yeah, there's more expensive stuff. It's like $20,000-$30,000. So the answer is how the Rebbe ate matzah was a pele gomer.
The Harim like to make a goal.
My father went for every Kamat, every Seder all the years. My father, as you know, comes here every year as a Pesach.
Yeah.
And by the Seder, he loves to tell over what was at the Rebbe's house. The favorite part is the way the Rebbe poured the kosher broth at the end. And the kids have fun, they giggle and giggle. That's the best part of the Seder. Because the Rebbe had a whole thing, the way he poured back and forth,
Nobody
back and
has
forth.
that.
No one ever. But my father tries it because he does there yoga and it's can go crazy. The pours three things.
Just to see it.
Yeah, that's the most fun part is the end of the Seder when my father, everyone's giggling because he's great. But he remembers all this done very well. And one of the things that he said is that the Rebbe didn't have teeth, so had to eat matzah. He chewed it with his gums. So you can imagine that the Rebbe bled a lot.
Bleeding, yeah.
And the
Because
Rebbe
he
used to
didn't have
take,
teeth.
and the Rebbe used to take a lot of nap, but he was scared of a shruya. So the Rebbe used to take napkin and he used to wipe, and it was full of blood, and he used to throw it under the table. He used to throw it, and he used to throw it a little further away. Again, shruya. Once there was someone that wanted to be zeicha to pick up a napkin, and the Rebbe gave him such a look, like that was it. No one tried to get those napkins again. But the Rebbe tried very hard to.
With every bite, the Rebbe with the napkin. If he took one piece of matzah, take a napkin clean, before he put another piece of matzah.
If you don't have teeth. Ein yotzim ha'matzah v'shal shlach ha'piyosa. I feel
He
it.
didn't have a dentist.
No, the Rebbe never, ever. There's a whole Indian about it.
A dentist?
Nothing,
Not
ever,
even
ever. No feeling, no nothing,
Not even a feeling.
nothing.
Remember my father said this story in the gym.
Does anybody know why?
That what?
There was a guy that knew the whole Midrash Rabbah and Wisdom Chomer by heart. Really, like he knew it. Like you say, Asher, he knew. And he came to Hilchos the Rebbe, and he started talking to the Rebbe. It's like the Rebbe Midrash is open. It was like I never saw somebody who know the Midrashim so well. Then he told him that the Frierdiker Rebbe went in summertime with his father to what is it called? For vacation. But for hot water specialist. So he met over there. It was the Roshberg Rebbe met over there the Rebbe Rashab from Alechem over there. So he told him that I heard you have a yeshiva, And he got from yeshiva. We went to sit to yeshiva. So he said, "What's the difference between Torah Mimi or Torah Mimi in our yeshiva?" Explained to him. He said, the Rebbe said to him, "Do me a favor. My husband doesn't want to make a filling, and he has his surim. Maybe you could talk to him as a godel ador, or you know." So he said to him, "When a shechet is shechet, a chicken, right? He says if he did the rov kone, Rashi says is kosher. If he did half, it's treif. Rashi said, how do you know how much is rov and how much is half? It's a kechut asara. Imagine the shechet to know how much. Chad v'sholom, let's say it was a sofek over there. One chicken, throw it out and finish. Or let's say there was a chashash from one chicken one time. But here, when you put the filling in your mouth, right, you eat something hot, it became absorbing heat. So let's say it was fleshy. You eat something cold, it's absorbing. So maybe this is a chashash. So he says, from chashash, I'm going to go all day long with the chashash like this. Not one time shchita, all day long. I can't do it. So the isurim from having chashash is holding more than the isurim that they don't have.
That's the reason why
The pashtus, that was the reason.
That's
Could
the
be
reason
other.
why and none of the rabbis, not just he's trying to Rashad, that's a different rabbi.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
but he said this
Yeah.
is like
But in terms of Kshash or Boston,
Chometz and Pesach.
but not just Pesach, it sounds to me like it's
People that have feelings, those people.
or year round Boston,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's the reason.
Interesting.
Right. Ein Yoitz and Matzah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Ein Yoitz and
But
Matzah.
I'm sure there
We
are
never heard of
rabbis- I'm
such
sure
thing.
there are- No, because I'm sure there are rabbis that do have dentures and
Yeah.
fillings,
Yeah.
and cavities.
Look, a lot of people. There are people that have cavities that they try not to before Pesach, 24 hours before there's Martyr had Chometz. There are people that try to take a little bit, water, hot water. It's
no, they
you
go
burn
to
your
the
mouth.
dentist, they go there to do a good cleaning.
Do a good cleaning.
Yeah,
People.
just told me.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
so when people come
They were machmir even more than that.
Right.
They were
Not
not to have it at all.
It's
All year round.
Yeah.
365 days.
Ein Yoitz and Matzah v'shel slach apiyos. I feel but
That's very chumrah.
it's unbelievable chumrah. Ein Yoitz and Matzah v'shel slach apiyos. I feel but I feel zok choyle. Lefisha abishel matel tam matzahs. I feel no in bashel berotzkan shnaflo. La torch ma'im chamshat sladua v'sirim yad. There is nikrim v'shelos. If it's cooked, so we're not Yoitz with the cooked matzah. When Yoitz by med, I'm morning shnaflo torch klidishi. Naflo torch klisheni. If fell into klisheni. Yoitz mit klisheni ein mavashim. Chomak yesh lachman lachatchilam layla tzera lefishesh mistabkem achosh ala pas. Shemi himes v'ashalas af b'klisheni. Commotion of Martyr Simon Yutches. That there's kale abishul. So therefore, they shouldn't be yoitz. Okay, bottom line is, what we see from this whole thing, that it's not a problem to eat knedlach on Pesach. Gebrooks comes out that later in the Chuvas, and he has a beautiful Chuva. Maybe once we'll learn it. The bottom line is, the Alter Rebbe says that be'emes kigam sheini isa gomor bor medina. And he brings many shittas. What's the reason? Because we're scared that if the person who needs the dough didn't do a good enough job, and there's a packet of flour, or maybe on the top of the matzah there is some flour, and now when the flour touches the water, it becomes chametz. The Alter Rebbe concludes his tshuva. Ein limches ba'moy nam hamakilim kivin shesh lo masir smoichu. אבל לפי מה שכוסף האריזה להחמר כל החומרס בפסח, פשיטה שיש להחמר כפשיטה in the פריחות.
Now, על פי קבולה better not to do it, but על פי הלכה you're allowed.
Yeah, but our shit is nigla also not allowed to. מקום הקם יום טב אחר, המקל משם שמחס יום טב לא יפסיד. And that's the conclusion. והויה זה שולם, אדון השולם, כנפש, הויה ואי נפש. שני הזלמן בני ברוך. Okay. So, no, he says, but Lepoil, the Rebbe talked about it, there was one of the years that we see that the Menek Chabad was dafka b'tamid mahader to do matzah shruya and achne shal Pesach. Why? And the kuda of the view is that why is it that we're scared about matzah shruya? We're scared that it'll become chametzdek.
Maybe there's flour on the matzah.
Maybe there's a little bit of flour and a little touch. So, and what happens the last day, Achron Shal Pesach? We start counting Svida the second night of Pesach. The Achron Shal Pesach, the last day, we're in the last Svida. We're purifying the midas, and when we start purifying the midas, we go through every midah. First, we start with the chesed, and the first day we count svita, we purify chesed sheba chesed, and then we purify gvura sheba chesed and tiferet sheba chesed. When we get after 49 days, there's an anomaly that they brought the korban on Pesach. The shtei alechem was dafka chometz, even though in the base of Mikdash it was an unusual thing. Everything was matzah. It was an unusual thing to have something chometzdik. So why is it that Chag HaShavuos says dafka? Because Chassidus says that after a person was mevared the midas 49 times every midah, so now he can bring chametz. Why? Because on Pesach, if a little bit of chametz gets mixed in, we're scared. Kis chametz levavi. We're scared about that. We're scared of chametz. What's the idea of chametz? Is yeshus and gaiva. So self-consciousness, self-centeredness. So that's a terrible thing. What that self-consciousness ruins every person's midas. All midas at all has come from I am in the center. But when a person purifies his midas, that they all become that all my 7 midas are the Eibishter's midas. So then even the idea of Yeshus and Gaiva can be used in Kedusha in a way of Hashem, that to use the Gaiva and the Yeshus and Darkei Hashem, to use it as I'm a proud Jew. So therefore, after the beater the midas, dafka Chag HaShavuos, the dafka have to bring chometz. So sagt the Rebbe that's the idea of matzah shruya kneidlach on Achron Shal Pesach. And why is it that we was the gashmis and beruchnis? It's a reflection one to the other. And that we're scared that there should be achshash chimutz. The last day of Pesach, Achron Shal Pesach, we say there's a certain siyata deshmaya. Spiritually and also in Avodas Hashem, that we say that with Sotz we already purified the main 7 midas. There's saying which is Chesed Sheba Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus, and we're now in Malchus Sheba Chesed. So now we're not so worried that a little bit when we get to Shavuos, the Kamamash brings Shtei Alechem. The last day, so Dafkin, now we want to utilize this thing which is Achshash Chimutz, but there's Mutter. We want to utilize it in Avodas Hashem. That's why the Minik Chabad is to dafke mahada to eat shruya on the last day of Pesach.
So it means not to eat the broth, right?
2 eat gebrocks in the last day. Only Achron Shal Pesach.
Israeli people doesn't have.
Right, they don't have it. In Israel, they don't have. There's no kneidlach.
Because they don't have an 8th day.
They don't have an 8th day. Just a few beautiful in the Kudus.
They go straight to chometz.
Well, that's what shruya is not.
Not gebrocks. Not having shruya. Shruya means to be shoyed, to soak.
Shruya is the broth.
Shruya is gebrocks.
I was thinking the other way.
So a few nekudas, a few minhagim. First of all, this is a story that I heard many times, but I found that someone, what's the difference if it's recorded or not recorded? I actually heard it from a Talmud of this Rosh Yeshiva in question, but seeing it printed is nice. Rabbi Yaakov come, huh?
It's food of Mona, food of medicine. He took medicine for 7 days, and the 8 days you're already healthy. You could eat through it. You feed yourself with so much Mona, you know that you're not going to have it.
So who says this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky once was a bocher, and he was learning in Slabodka Yeshiva. He was hangeladen in Slabodka to a family. And but he had a feeling that the food was not so. He got uncomfortable. He didn't want to eat the food. It was chash. What should he say? Didn't want to insult him. So he realized that they're serving kneidlach. So he said, "Ich esse nicht kein shruya." Okay, so what could they do? He said, "Sorry." Okay, so he drank some wine and he ate some matzah. He bothered him. He lied. He said a lie. So Ad Sof Yom of his entire life, he never, ever, ever, ever ate gebroks. He didn't eat gebroks. His family is on hey, no problem. But since he said that he doesn't eat gebroks, that was it. that for this whole life he didn't eat gebroks. I just found there's a beautiful word in Yerushalayim given a choshev yid Reb Avram Hersh Kohen. Given a gon otzim kiyadua. He knew you couldn't catch him on the Biur Agro on the Shulchan Aruch. He was a boki otzim in the Biur Agro. How does it happen to the Baba Shachos? He was a gon otzim. So he's just an akuda from him. Children on Pesach. So I mean, today, Baruch Hashem, everything is not such a shaila. But what should you give a child? And you don't have that much to give. So they asked him if you have a choice to give a child kitnius or matzah shruya. Kitnius and matzah shruya. And he said that definitely kitnius is brought mefurish, you're not allowed to eat. It's not a minig for Ashkenazim to eat. Matzah shruya, even though there are those that are knowing not to eat, well, on Achne Pesach they do eat. So better to give children matzah shruya. And it's very interesting. Another thing is brought in the Sich and Tovshin Gimel that Friedrich Rebbe said his father had a minute that all year when he would do Maim Shalonu, Maim Acharonim, he would wash his lips together with his water. But on Pesach he would dafken not mechshash shruya, just in case there might be a drop of matzah left over on his lips. Okay, let's go quickly into the next sugya. Matzah shenis kapo betanur ben is dapke sham b'makom hakefel. What happens now? We're going to talk about matzah kfula and nefucha. Okay, so let's talk about that. This is probably as a real kfula. This is a matzah kfula. You see over here?
How come it's so soft?
No, it's for soft because I put it in the door of my car and I didn't realize a little bit of rain gets in there.
Oh,
it's about to show you.
You have to burn it before Pesach.
Shine, whatever. So this
I'm
is
surprised. It was almost look like a lava.
yeah. This is, but you see, this is the nakuda of. So if you open it now that it got a little wet, you could actually open it up.
Yeah,
So you see what's going on over here. The heat doesn't get in there well.
right.
This is the problem with matzah kfula, and the fucha. I don't have really any good.
Yeah, I just wanted to see.
Here, take it. So that's the nakud. That's a
Depends
kfula.
over
That's
inside.
full. Now, there's a big discussion about, like, this is probably a real kfula, but this is a real kfula. This is like, as you can see that this is chametz. Look at this. You can see this is chametz.
It was in the oven. It was so hot. How is possible?
But the place, because it was neskapel, the heat, pass it around and you see how this piece that was called kefil, you'll see how it's really chametz. It's poshet. You could see. Here is, you can see it's mamish dough.
How is it possible?
You can see it's mamish dough. Feel it, see. Here, I got a couple of good pieces to show. Then there is where the kfulas are not really kfulas. Basically, what happens is when the women are doing the dough, so sometimes it gets ripped. So and she, Adam Chotz Amasi Adam, they worked already so hard. So they take what they fingers and they go like this.
Yeah, but you have whiteness on the finger.
No. Here, I pass around. Guys, no. They wear gloves. Today they're makbid, the women should wear gloves. The problem is not that. The problem is they're shvach.
Okay.
Again, but the problem is, it's an old thing because it's easier for them to have these old women. They really should get men to do it. And these chevre that have koyach in their hands.
Like thick matzah.
Right. That's why our matzahs, like I said last week, that's why our matzahs.
Like a plywood.
This is. Look how thick this matzah is. Look. Wow.
You need another 2 minutes of.
I told Mr. Tenenbaum, this will be thick enough. We can build save it to sukkahs, and we'll build the sukkah with this. What does that?
Why are you saying it's
We drill it in with the plywood.
Are
Yeah,
you saying it's too thick?
it's thick. Yeah, it's very thick.
Some months it's all very thick.
Some matzahs are thick. So these,
Even slur.
yeah. So
Over there.
the women, they don't have the koyach in their hand to go like.
Here's your back.
So then there's still a line
Yeah.
on that matzah.
There's
There's still a line on that matzah. Yeah, I want to show you this one. Here, look at this. This is where you see where really, you see? This is mamish. You could see that it's coming.
Best thing is for them to fold it back up like they start.
The best would be for them to roll it up. Stuff.
Yeah, but
They're
they
not
make money.
interested in doing it,
They
right?
make money every month.
Right, because they get paid very much. So they do that.
Right.
That's not really a kfula. And I'm sorry, nafucha. That's not. I'm sorry, kfula. It's not really a kfula. A lot of the poskim, I'm talking about contemporary poskim, say that if you like when you take the roller and you go zzz, when you make our minute that we make
The whole
holes, that dough that was neskapel, that's not called really a kfula. That's not really called a kfula. But if you have a real kfula like this, you have a problem on Pesach. And we'll talk about it in a second. Let's read it inside. Matzah sheneskapel b'tana v'nizdat from b'makam hakefel. Imu koydem ha-Pesach. אפילו בערב פסח משש שעות של המעלה, מייסה מוקם הכיפל שיש בכשה שחימוץ, כי שם לא יהיה שחוים האיש יוכל לשפוט בכוח בין הדבקים להסחיל לפש שם מיד, ונסחמת שם קודם שיסחיל לפש שם, ומייסר עד מוקם הגוי, דהיינו כרכב גודל סמוך למוקם הכיפל, כדין סחמת שנוגע במצה שעושה במוקם הגוי, באוים כרכב גודל כמו שנסבר בסימן תוף ממזיים. ושאר המצה מוטס, so you have to go like this. You go with your finger like this, and you break it off here. The width. Yeah, the width. So then this is that there is the Alter Rebbe is going to say later that this is not brought in the Gemara. It's a minig bi alma, and the Chazon Ish has a thing that today the matzah is so thin, so perhaps it's even better. I see someone asked Reb Chaim Kanievsky, and he said that b'diavad you don't have to be makbid and the makam agoydel, but the poil. That's our minute. You have to take, not just crack off here, you have to crack off like this. You have to crack off the amount of a goyd.
The guy is still the matzah is losing a lot of money this year.
So that's the thing.
Just to make sure that people do it right.
No, but when it came out from the oven, in the oven it's this.
That's the mile. I have to tell
They
you,
do it so fast, they don't even see it.
they do it fast and they don't see. This bakery has a mile. They don't cap how they're losing money when they think that they're making money on us. They don't realize how they're losing money on us because they're charging us an extra few dollars a pound. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm standing there, my father's standing there, and we're breaking off from the sides. At the end of the day, there's more than a box that's maybe that could be easy over there, 10 pounds of maybe chumras, maybe 6-7 pounds matzah. So now they lost this 7 pounds. So now how much? So and they're selling the retail price they're selling is $35 a pound. So now they lost $250.
Yeah, but they don't look $250 because it doesn't cost them $35. They're selling it for
Yeah, by the regular price.
I'm just other bakeries won't let you do that. This is a mile in this bakery. Other bakeries, yeah, we have our mashgiach. Don't tell us you're going to break up our mile.
Break it in your house, not here.
Yeah, not here. You pay for it, then you break it.
Most bakeries, they don't care.
You take it. Yeah, that's a mile. Rabbi Tenenbaum, he doesn't mind. You could stand there. You could break and break and break. Okay, so whatever. Just telling you.
Don't worry, he sells the matzahs.
I don't know what he
I
does.
think he's going out for free.
I don't know.
Even the book in the cell.
I don't know.
So it's for comments.
Okay, yeah, you can do whatever you want. We don't pay for it.
Okay, matzah milk.
Maybe matzah milk. I don't know. I hope he's not using it for that. V'shara matzah muta b'chila. Aval b'sheim b'shishim b'neged makam hakefel. Aval matzah shenefes b'toich ha-Pesach. If it was in Pesach, when the scapula batana fill in the scapula lavashim menu machmirim loiser kula, the kivin shachametz mechube b'matzah b'chatich achas choishishin shem nispasha tama chametz b'chalamatza av bishish matzah shishim connect denim is batelz b'toich hashchom Pesach b'mashu. So therefore, on Pesach itself, if there's a kefil, we machmed to throw out the entire matzah. Aval im makam kefil is in the schaber b'tama b'matzah acheres afila ein noishchin. Einois is kula v'day benatilas makam maga kerechav goydel v'fish anishicha. Ein mechaberet soisen kechaticha mamish. So it's on Pesach mamish. If it was like this, then you throw out the whole matzah. But if they just touched each other in the town, or you just break off makam goydel. It's not so negay. We don't bake matzah on Pesach.
Some people do matzah on Pesach.
But that's negay. Take
But for the three matzahs, so you could be yotze for motzi. You wouldn't be able to be yotze unless it's a lecha mishnah, right?
Right. So that's it. You got to break it off. You're going to lose your lecha mishnah.
Yeah.
Imakam akefel hu mishuach b'shuman v'nog b'matzah acheres chamash hayat salad boy. It's an unusual case because we don't smear shuman on our matzah. By the way, since we're
I
just
saw matzahs
pause.
with deep in chocolate.
I saw from one of the Chassidish Haggadahs at Chernobyl or something that they had a minhag. They didn't eat shruya, but they would put schmaltz on the matzah because the schmaltz is no water in the schmaltz. You wash it off before you put it in the frying pan. Who asked you to do that? Don't wash it. Don't wash it. Don't wash it.
My parents do cream cheese with matzah, but they don't do matzah shruya.
They don't keep matzah shruya. No, but Chernobyl they kept matzah shruya.
No, I'm saying they keep matzah shruya.
They keep matzah shruya and they put cream cheese. But
There's no water.
But this is mamish has no water. Schmaltz, no water. But and this is an unusual case. The schmaltz on it. The other matzah, one of the two matzahs have schmaltz on it. Because shuman mefafeya, one of these two matzahs have schmaltz on it, and they touch the other matzah. This matzah's got this guy matzah had some chametz on it. Now you smeared schmaltz and it's hot, and it touches the other matzah, so the chametz travels. If this matzah touched this matzah and they both have schmaltz, but they didn't touch where there's the kefil, so we're makel over there. We take the clip. And over here, the isur itself, the chametz is not shaman; it's just schmaltz on top of it. Ein shamatam. Afilum shlemat salon eschaber betam ad shenosh choze bezeh. Ein aneshech mechabart leskechatich asmam shel shtechatich shenoged bezu. Venisa anivlo yoytz machatich lotich baroid yoyte. So because the doesn't really, it really doesn't make sense that the chametz dika matzah should go into. So even though there's both schmaltzy. Even though they're both schmaltzy, but since it didn't touch in the place of the schmaltz, it touched in the place where it's not schmaltzy. So we're making, we only take off kedei klippe. Anyway, this is not the oil spreads, but that's within one matzah. But if it touched one matzah, another matzah, and really it's supposed to, it only spreads when there's roite. And schmaltz is not really roite. We're machmet to consider the schmaltz like roite if it's not roite. You really need roite to get it from here to here. So if it touched like this in the tanur, say we're machmer. But if it touched like this, we're not machmer.
I didn't see nobody make matzahs
with schmaltz, no, whatever. That's the din. But in if one matzah is sitting on top of the other matzah in the tanur, they're both awesome. Where the dovuk in the tanur is a matzah kfula. Shein ei sheilasham v'oisis kol matzah. V'es kol matzah zu shemechabartan l'shneim. V'im hu kodem pesach meis emakam adovuk im rechel goydel v'matzah zu v'rechel goydel matzah zu. If it's on Pesach and they went like this, got to throw both in the garbage. If it's before Pesach and they touched like this, so these whatever they touched in the tanur, you got to throw in the garbage. And you take a rechev goydel
both sides
from here and a rechev goydel from here from both sides. If two, if you should be very careful. When you put them in the oven, they shouldn't touch like this, even though it's not on top. They shouldn't even touch here at this point, which you would say, look, at the bottom it's very hot, the top is very hot. So what's the big deal that they're touching a drop? There should be a space between.
Well, I see the guy in the oven. He take one matzah, put into the other.
No, because they're already baked. Because it was already baked. Because after can be baked well. Have to be baked well. If you're doing it on Pesach, you should burn it. Sifcha Beis, ein oise matzah kula steht sie da kefel und vukim zulu ze daheim monochem zal ze mamash bulu shem hefsek ave b'tayim. Dus loch Hashem ein chem adei shel Hashem alim ein vukim mamash. Es just smuchim zel ze ave shekamat im vukim ein loise filan betoch Pesach. Kim shesh mat hefsek ביניהם חמי שרלות שם, יופי, מצחל איפה שם קודם שעצמו להצחל לסחמס, בכל מקום, אם שם במקום הכיפה לא יקור מפנה, אסור לסלו פספור האחרונה שנסבור למעלה. So the emes is like this. This is a good example of a matzah, which is part of this machloikis. This is exactly what he's talking about in the sif. It didn't. There is a drop of space. There is a drop of space, as opposed to this one, whatever, already fell apart. But this one was like, this is matzah kfula l'chol hadays. This one is taka shaila because it didn't touch. You see, it was a kefil, but there's a little bit of space. So therefore, this is the machloikis. So this one, if you chop it on Pesach, you got to, or this one on Pesach, you have to burn it. This one, you could put it aside. You don't have to burn it. If you catch a thing like this on Pesach, you put it aside.
It's only
Yeah, because you could see. Yeah, because there's a little bit of space. I mean, you could see with your eyes. It didn't get baked well. So it's not as bad.
Not bad that it might become chametz.
Yes. So therefore, if it's mamish connected like this, you got to burn it. If it's not like this, so you don't have to burn it, but you have to put it aside. Sometimes you see things that are even less egregious as this. So then you just, again, you put it aside, you put it in a bag, and you eat it after Pesach. Pesach, it's kosher.
What's egregious?
Not as bad. This is like, this is the worst. This is like terrible. This one. Because they touched together, and they were mamish, there was no avid in between.
So it could be chametz.
Right, so you have to take it out and burn it on Pesach. This one, you don't have to burn it, but you got to put it aside.
I remember now when the guy put the matzah inside, he usually put 3 sticks in one shot, right? 1, 2, and 3. By the time he put the 3 one, start taking the food one out already.
You ever see people burning chametz in Pesach?
Because the emes says people don't realize that they're supposed to look at their matzah. Sometimes people don't realize, so they don't. But if you
see people burning chametz in Pesach,
look, if it happens, it happens. You have to do it. If it happens, it happens.
But if it's kavua and there's space, is that like
If it is like this, you can't eat it.
Yeah, I understand. Why? Because it might become chametz.
Yes.
Why?
Because the heat didn't go in. So there was a little bit of heat went in,
Right.
and it became chametz.
But is that worse than what you're holding in your hand? Is that worse than eating the brooks?
Sure. Kaprox is a minute. This is bad stuff. This is bad stuff.
Because the brooks only means that it might become chametz.
Right.
This
is
more of a
yeah, sure.
We come now.
Yeah.
I know.
It's chametz right now.
you ever saw anybody?
I didn't see anyone, but listen, the din is the din. No, given then say lahach mevala samatz shene fuche bem tzoy. The eine shot top. Guf matz nas kahar bem tzoy. Der fik der khamas shom schmaltz nas bem tzoy. This thing of a nefucha is hard to find today. Why is it hard to find? Because we have these things that they go zoom on the holes. In those days, they used to, the minhag of making was always holes. They used to take a fork and they used to make holes.
Back of the day.
Yeah, so you could end up having an nefucha that puffs up like a pita bread. So if it puffs up like a pita bread, it's chametz. Matzah shalak krum k'ter shalom al pas b'shat safiyah muter. Avalim oive matzah nachlok l'shtayim etzad elyon ol l'mayla v'yesh chalol v'emtza isa areiz nikra gam ken nefuch v'negel l'asra im chalol ol l'mayla then shetzad elyon ol gam ken l'mayla ad shenas chalol ad shachol shenas tartel gam ken mugavoy shetach pnei matzah asher seviva. Mamish like a pita. If you have like a pita, that's nefucha. They know it's an elam kein achol hu god hu kokach kam eggs lose. Kama Edsba Goidel Bainini, as that's the Kalamatza Philocodum Pesach Matzah, Shishuk Neged Makam and a Fuch, Fashion a Fuch, Shibamakam Echad, Megala, Hachomet, Shokola Matzah, Shalonis Askaba, Asik, Gomer Lavatal, Tchilas Achimus, Lafika, Shishivu, Batana, Yedei Choim, Yotza Bachimuts Lapoil, Venisgala, Bushta, Ulafika, Nis Patra. It's unusual Lashon, but he's saying, Nisgala Bushta, that we found out that this was a bad guy. This guy really, this dough must have become chametzik. Really, it's possible for matzah to go sour even less than 18 minutes. and we daven to Eibishter. We shouldn't happen. But when you put it in the oven and you see that leaving a little part of the matzah became tafuach, is a charaya that this whole thing is bad stuff. You got to throw it out. יש אויס מקום נקב בלבד שאויס מקום דם למצק פולה שאין 5 שאלות שם בשם מות אפילו תוך פסח ונויס אפילו מקום נקב כשיש בתוך הבבוש שקוראים בלזליך שהם סימן אחים אבל אם הוא חולק מוטב אם יש במצה שני נקבים איך כנקב בתוך נקב כל שם לא יעשה כולה. It's hard for me to be medamian what it is.
You see sometimes matzah that has like bubbles, the bubbles like this, and it's gone.
I don't know. I've never seen it. Kol yisurim elishin is born b'matzah kfula and fuchein lamika b'gemorim. Einen elam minik shenoga b'seinu b'doris acharoinim hava b'shilim lahakol b'dav asher b'seinu nogu boi yisu mishum shenem al tita shteris amachem chomakam lahachem b'mekmod b'chometz gomer sheoyse terivasa b'mashim b'techabesa v'la lahachem v'las oisim tzad atzma shenis tapcha avaloi taruvasa. So here's an interesting thing. The Alter Rebbe says, look, we didn't in the Gemara. We don't have it in the Gemara. We don't have it in the Gemara. Elamai, that's altita shtoris emecha. That's the minhag that a matzah that's a kfula and an afucha that we are scared that it's chametz.
What happened with the start in the evening, the last one, Pesach?
They probably have they know what they're doing. Those that know what they're doing know what they're doing. It's interesting. Next halacha. Ein tzarich lahasik, b'chein ein tzarich lahasik lahachshus etana mokum shosh v'lamatz v'chemar d'shetz v'ma'en la'aserez v'lachatchila mefshel v'acheres k'mo shizbo v'sim kol k'tof nun alaf v'chem shok l'ken shenishtam shom bolomen. There are some bakeries that do like this. There's the martyr that they use to take out the matzah. Every maida, every 18 minutes, they stick it into the oven to kasher it. Machshash. That there are some of them come out kfulas. There's no question. So, and lechatchila, you're not supposed to use the marda again. So they put it in for like the few minutes, kilo that's going to kasher it.
Libun.
Yeah, to make it. Huh? No, the end is made metal. The end is made out of metal.
That's what he is.
It became red.
It's not all wood.
Yeah. And then he said, if it's mutter. I was thinking, it's a minhag, but what's taka the minhag is because earlier generations, you have to look also spiritually, and these two things are connected. We're more machmer of a chashash chimutz. Why? Ki chametz levavi. In a place, if a person is, for example, very healthy, person's very, very healthy, physically very healthy, a tiny virus, a little bug gets in, it's nothing. But a person, his immune system is very schwach. A small thing gets in, a small chaydak gets in there, and it's not good. It's an infection. It gets sick. Rahman al-Islam. So also spiritually, it's the same thing. When Yidden were very, very healthy, akfula and nafucha, don't worry about it. Don't get bent out of shape from a little kfula, a little nafucha. But in our generation, where our spiritual immune system is not so so kis chametz levavi, a little bit of chametz that goes into the heart is already could affect our entire life in a bad way. So therefore, the minhag of Eseinu, altita shteres emecha, that we're extra makpid. We're extra makpid when it comes to knedlach, matzah shruya. We're extra makpid. I mean, this is more of a thing because this is everyone's. But the common denominator between the knedlach, matzah shruya, and matzah kfula nefucha is achshash chimutz, which in the early generations they didn't hear of such a thing. Why? Their spiritual immune system was very healthy. Don't worry, it's not a big deal. But us, our spiritual immune system is a little suppressed, is a little schwach. So therefore, we're extra makpid. Dave shall help them with all the extra akpodas that we have. That we should have. We should have a kosher freilich and Pesach.
Amen.
I should be kosher in every way. It should be freilich in every way.
Amen. Right.
What's the meaning of you eat matzah with fish? Or matzah finish and
Don't want to know.
You don't want to go in there.
like in my house with matzah, we finish. You take out the plastic, the no plastic, and so there's no matzah with
This and worse. Once we had a guest that he was very upset about it. He said, "How could you have to have matzah on the table?" So we made the other table. Ich finish tish. My parents come to my house.
So they're on the tish.
Yeah, so don't ask. I'll teach you to say it's mamish to
Right. Rabbi, I remember you taught us last year that it was a story with one of the Chabad rabbis, who this person came to a Seder and he wouldn't eat any of the food there. And the also from the story is,
and the water with the founder.
I forgot the specifics, but the muscle you learned from the story is if the person was so concerned about the kashrut for Pesach, he really should be wondering about his own kashrut.
He was
Well, that yes, right.
Bruchim I figured I'd do. I was thinking, and I decided. I looked at my calendar, and I realized like this: Tuesday, Wednesday, the last Tuesday, Wednesday, because so now we have 3 Tuesday, Wednesdays to Pesach. And I want to do tonight. I want to do this, and I want to start fade a little bit.
We're not going to March
Until after Pesach.
You know when we're
Yeah.
It's got needed.
Okay.
Very nice.
After Pesach, we'll try to do a little quicker. We'd have to finish off a daf and a half to get to your class.
It's just no rush to make a Shiur. We're always
Only if you hit Shabbos. Right, so exactly.
I used to I might understand this is also around
I have a personal plan.
They weren't donations. 18 or 13. They have to recover and the person they go to different fund that sends for so we can believe I don't remember exactly which parish where it's starting. Right side is a page every week. Right side Italian that I'm using now. So it's going from mother
יש...
I see other people use it's called Schmaltz elucidate. It's a hardcover grade, mostly great. But anyway, they bring down with this everything. It's somebody all you can do is so it's a little I see a little no
David is showing you.
It's great summary. No, there are pictures. I saw that they summarize all the things.
Very nice.
All the things that we're running down. So it's a little